this is going to be my review of Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2, The Passenger. What do I think about it? I think its best qualities are... The episode's best qualities... The best qualities are when they give further character development between the relationship between the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. You know, a lot of cute Baby Yoda moments, but I think they really developed the relationship, and Baby Yoda's getting closer to talking and all that stuff. So I think again, like I said, the best qualities are when they further the relationship between those two characters, and more particularly the role of father and son. You know, look at the whole opening sequence of how far the great lengths the Mandalorian would go to just to save Baby Yoda and all that stuff. And I really like the action. The action's great, whether you look at the intense, scene with the spiders, or you look at the dog, it's not a dog fight, but the chase on the snow planet, like going through the glaciers and stuff, trying to get away from the X-wings, and also seeing how the Rebel Alliance fits in with this part of the timeline, and kind of their Mandalorian, how the Mandalorian fits in this greater universe in terms of his relationship with the Empire, but in particular in this episode, his relationship with the rebellion, at this point, more or less closer to the Resistance, but I mean, I didn't care for the passenger. I think it was pretty. I think that pretty lame. I think the frog people, the frog girl. I didn't care for that, and I didn't. They didn't. The problem was it's not filler's not the wrong. The filler is the wrong word, because you know what, I think this show is a slow paced show. It's about getting that development, getting that character development, and truly detailing the Mandalorian Din Djarin's journey to bring this child to safety, and bring him to his people, and bring him to his home. And so in that case, it's not filler, it's part of the journey, but it just, so I can say it's not filler, but I can say but I am okay with saying it's a weaker part of the story that follows, the Mandalorian, in his journey. It's not as good as episode 1 of this season. It's not the worst episode of The Mandalorian overall. I think there's still worse episodes, but it's just hard. Nothing was really memorable, I think is what I'd say. Because while there's cool action sequences, but when it's not the action, I didn't care for it, you know what I mean? In the sense that at the beginning of the episode, it was a cool kind of opening sequence, but and I think this episode, illustrates more of the same. Because how many times are we going to see the Razor Crest crash down and have to rebuild, and then miraculously be able to fly out of there? I don't know. How many different planets are we going to go on this detour? I don't know. And I think that the thing is, it's like, what frustrates me is for every one important part of the story, there's a couple parts of the story and I don't say filler, I say a couple parts of the story and a couple parts of the narrative that don't have plot narrative, but they have character narrative. It's character-driven narrative. In the sense where I think it's strong, where it's like if I had to give you, it didn't really have a true, clear-cut, I guess what's narrative, I guess, what it come down to is yeah. But I enjoyed it, but I just think if I had to say anything lackluster about it, I think it's just it's just there. And I think we're getting to a point where it just seems like this episode, again, is not filler, but it seems to this episode sets up things in places they'll go in later episodes, you know what I mean? And this episode was definitely shorter than the previous, but I think it seems to have kind of it seems to be our connection from episode 1 to episode 3. It seems, because I think this episode, or this show, is kind of a journey. It's not a character based show. It's not a plot driven show. It's a journey. It's a show about a journey between these two characters going on an adventure to bring one. It's about this guy ultimately. This Mandalorian that has to bring this kid to safety. That's, I'd say, what the essence of the show is about, is this journey. And so we're getting, probably 4 seasons worth of this journey that I think can be very interesting, and the different layers of this journey. But so while there was nothing exciting, I guess I'd say, anything jaw dropping, like for example last week when Boba Fett showed up, and seeing Cobb Vanth show up and seeing the Crate Dragon, those were like, oh shucks, oh golly moments, that you're like on the edge of the seat for. That's so thrilling, it's so intense, so amazing. And like a WTF moment. There just wasn't any of that in this episode, and you don't need that. But then not subvert, but then instead of giving us any WTF moments, then give us other moments that can also be worth it too. Instead of I'd say instead of again, I don't want to use the word filler because it's not filler. Instead of a plain, I use the word plain part of the journey to get from where the season started to the end. And this season, I think ultimately is kind of what I'd like to think is kind of a season 1 part 2. You know what I mean? Because season 1 didn't really conclude with much. I'm saying much. It didn't conclude with much being solved. So I don't know how this season's gonna end. I know they're getting a season 3. So we shall see. And I also hearing that a Boba Fett miniseries rumors coming out about Lucasfilm making a Boba Fett series that they've kept so under wraps that they're potentially making it next week. Crazy. It's crazy. So and by the way, having a Boba Fett series lines up exactly what they said, because they said they're introducing some characters in this show specifically so they can get spin-off shows. So it all seems to line up. Anyways, stay tuned for more videos coming right at you.